Before the roaring stadium entrances. Before the championship belts glittered under arena lights. Before millions around the world began calling him one of boxing's most dominant heavyweights. Anthony Joshua was just a young man trying to navigate fame, temptation, pressure, and love while carrying the weight of becoming a global icon. And here's what makes his relationship story so fascinating. For someone constantly surrounded by fame, beauty, money, and attention, Anthony Joshua has remained one of the most emotionally guarded superstars in sports. No endless public romances, no messy celebrity feuds, no constant social media displays of affection. Instead, Joshua built an almost mysterious reputation around his private life. And naturally, that mystery made fans even more obsessed. Because people kept asking, who truly has Anthony Joshua's heart? Why has he never married? And what kind of father is the heavyweight champion away from cameras? The answers reveal a surprisingly grounded, emotionally disciplined, and deeply protective man behind the intimidating fighter image. The early romantic years, before global fame, long before he became a multi-millionaire athlete, Joshua lived a very different life. He grew up in Watford, England, balancing sports with the realities of a challenging environment. During those younger years, relationships were far more normal and low-profile because nobody yet knew the man he would become. Unlike celebrities who enter fame already polished and media-trained, Joshua's rise happened publicly and rapidly. One moment he was a promising athlete. The next, he was Britain's golden boxing superstar. And that kind of overnight fame changes everything, especially relationships. Because suddenly trust becomes difficult. You begin questioning intentions. You wonder who genuinely cares about you versus your fame. Privacy disappears. And ordinary dating becomes nearly impossible. Many people close to Joshua have suggested that this is one reason he became extremely protective of his emotional life. Nicole Osbourne, the most important woman in his personal life. Among all the women linked to Anthony Joshua, one name stands above the rest. Nicole Osbourne. Unlike many rumored celebrity romances, Nicole was part of Joshua's life before the full explosion of his global fame. That matters. Because relationships formed before wealth and celebrity often carry deeper emotional authenticity. Nicole reportedly knew Joshua during the period when he was still developing as both a boxer and a man. At the time, he was balancing discipline, ambition, and personal struggles while chasing a future that wasn't guaranteed yet. Their relationship eventually became one of the most defining chapters of his personal life because Nicole gave birth to his son. And fatherhood changed Anthony Joshua forever. Becoming a father, the birth of JJ. In 2015, Joshua welcomed his son, Joseph JJ Joshua. For fans, it was shocking in a beautiful way. The intimidating knockout artist suddenly revealed a softer side nobody expected. Because outside the ring, Joshua reportedly transforms completely around his child. Friends and insiders have described him as affectionate, attentive, calm, and extremely protective as a father. And perhaps that's because fatherhood arrived during one of the most intense periods of his career. Imagine the pressure. Training camps, world title expectations, international fame, media scrutiny, financial responsibility, and now, a child depending on him emotionally and financially. That kind of responsibility matures a man quickly. Joshua has hinted several times that becoming a father gave him deeper purpose beyond boxing. Not just fighting for titles. Not just earning millions. But building something meaningful for his son's future. And that emotional shift became noticeable. Fans began seeing a more thoughtful and spiritually reflective Anthony Joshua in interviews after JJ's birth. The relationship between Joshua and Nicole after separation. Although Anthony Joshua and Nicole Osbourne did not remain together romantically, what impressed many people was how maturely they handled co-parenting. There were no explosive scandals. No ugly public battles. No bitter social media drama. Instead, both appeared focused on creating stability for their son. Joshua reportedly ensured Nicole and JJ lived comfortably and privately, away from unnecessary public attention. Several reports even suggested he purchased property to provide security for them. That decision reflected something important about Joshua's character: loyalty and responsibility. Even after the romance faded, he did not walk away from fatherhood obligations. And in celebrity culture, where public disputes often become entertainment headlines, Joshua's quiet approach stood out. Why Anthony Joshua keeps his love life so secret? One of the biggest mysteries around Joshua has always been his intense privacy regarding relationships. And honestly, there are several reasons why. One, fame changed the way he trusted people. When you become internationally famous, relationships become complicated. Joshua transformed from an ordinary young man into a global sports icon worth millions. Suddenly, attention from women increased dramatically. But with that attention comes suspicion. Who genuinely likes you? Who likes your lifestyle? Who wants publicity? Who wants access? Joshua appears extremely aware of this danger. That may explain why he almost never publicly confirms romantic relationships. 2. Boxing consumes his life. Heavyweight boxing is not a normal profession. It is mentally exhausting, physically brutal, emotionally consuming. Training camps alone can isolate fighters for months. Joshua's career demanded obsessive discipline, strict nutrition, constant travel, painful conditioning, psychological pressure, and non-stop public scrutiny. Maintaining a healthy romantic relationship inside that environment is incredibly difficult. Several athletes have openly admitted that elite sports can destroy relationships because the sport always comes first. Joshua appears to understand that reality deeply. 3. He hates public drama. Another thing fans noticed: Joshua avoids chaos. Unlike many celebrities, he rarely engages in online arguments, public call-outs, or messy relationship scandals. He protects his peace carefully. And that personality trait seems to extend directly into his romantic life. Rumored relationships and celebrity speculation. Over the years, Anthony Joshua has been linked romantically to several high-profile women, including models, influencers, singers, and television personalities. But most rumors remained exactly that: rumors. Joshua rarely confirmed anything publicly. That silence created enormous media curiosity. At various times, tabloids speculated about relationships with glamorous public figures, but Joshua consistently avoided turning romance into public entertainment. And ironically, that mystery increased his appeal even more. Because fans could never fully figure him out. Did Anthony Joshua ever want marriage? Many people assume a wealthy, successful athlete would rush into marriage. But Joshua never appeared desperate to marry. In interviews, he has occasionally hinted that he takes commitment extremely seriously. And perhaps that comes from understanding how fragile relationships can become under fame and pressure. Marriage for Joshua does not seem like a publicity milestone. It seems like something he would only pursue if he found complete emotional trust and stability. That mindset may explain why, despite years of fame and admiration from women worldwide, he remains unmarried publicly. The women drawn to Anthony Joshua. It's easy to understand why Joshua attracts enormous attention romantically. He combines physical dominance, confidence, financial success, emotional calmness, discipline, intelligence, and mystery. That combination is powerful, but what makes him especially attractive to many people is that he doesn't appear reckless emotionally. There's restraint in him, a sense that he thinks deeply before letting people into his private world. And sometimes emotional control becomes more magnetic than chaos. His relationship with his son today, perhaps the most meaningful relationship in Anthony Joshua's life, remains the one with his son. He frequently speaks about legacy, responsibility, and setting examples. Many fans believe fatherhood softened him emotionally while strengthening him mentally. Because when athletes become parents, their motivations often change. They stop fighting only for themselves. Now there's someone watching them, learning from them, depending on them. And Joshua appears to take that responsibility very seriously. The emotional reality behind the fame. One of the saddest realities of celebrity life is this: the more famous you become, the harder genuine love can feel. And Anthony Joshua's life reflects that tension perfectly. Millions admire him, millions desire him, millions watch him, but true emotional safety, That's much rarer. Which may explain why he guards his heart so carefully. The relationship story of Anthony Joshua is not filled with endless scandals or reckless celebrity chaos. Instead, it's a story about privacy, trust, fatherhood, discipline, and emotional protection. Behind the heavyweight knockouts is a man who appears deeply thoughtful about love and fiercely protective of the people closest to him. A champion inside the ring, but outside it, perhaps just a man still searching for peace, balance, and something real in a world constantly trying to turn his private life into headlines.